Right, on this note, with that being said, let's head back to the National Results Operations Centre out in Tshwane. Gareth there. And Gareth, how's it looking from where you stand? Quite a beautiful shot there in terms of, movement. Not a lot of people as yet still, but clearly those results expected to continue trickling in.
That's quite right. So if Irma G was doing something of an IEC results centre traffic update, we've had about 4 people crossing at the intersections of Coffee Machine and Reception in the last couple of hours. So no, it's not very busy at the moment. And I saw someone tweeting us at eNCA asking, where are all the officials? Where are all the people in blue? Why aren't they here working overnight as well? We must remember that this is the National Results Operations Centre. Of course, we're going to go provincially, as we will with Lindsay Dentlinger down in the Western Cape in just a moment, but there are more and more IEC officials coming in, just making sure that the numbers are coming through. All right, I know you're wondering about numbers, so let me do that for you quickly. That's why I'm here. I'm at the results centre, so let me give you results. 58% is where we stand at the moment of all the votes that are in. From the national picture, you can see our board there, still at the top of the leaderboard, if you will, the African National Congress. It's at 46.42%. We have the Democratic Alliance at 22.25%. And if I do my maths correctly, and I hope I do, Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, currently in third at just over 10%, 10.09. And then I think it is, unless my eyes are failing me, National Freedom Party. No, I beg your pardon, Inkatha Freedom Party, they are failing me, 4.50. And the National Freedom Party at 0.48%. My team telling me it's on my monitor. Thank you, team. Now I can see as well. And the Freedom Front Plus, 2.72. So that is the national picture as far as what South Africa looks like this morning, remembering the IEC saying that they were hoping to get 90% of the votes in last night, get those counted up. Clearly, that's not the situation. But perhaps we have better news out of the Western Cape. This morning, let's head over down to what is the Provincial Results Operations Centre. It's where Lindsay Dentlinger is for us this morning. Lindsay, hello to you. And I'm taking a look at the leading parties in the Western Cape at the moment. And yes, it's the DA leading 53, the ANC, and then other parties. But this really is, and this might annoy the ANC, Lindsay, the real good story out of the Western Cape is the Good Party, isn't it?
Morning, Gareth, from your elections results centre to mine. Also very quiet here still this morning, standing on 67% of the votes captured. But I think that's because officials are getting some much-needed sleep, where all indications are that it will all be wrapped up here, Gareth, by 11 o'clock this morning. Of course, the city of Cape Town, the big one that we're watching and waiting for. And that point you make about the Good Party, Patricia de Lille was quite scathing towards journalists while she was on the campaign trail, not wanting us to speak about the so-called coloured vote. But really, Gareth, it cannot be discounted in this province, and particularly in the city. And it is really where she, and I should also point out the Cape Coloured Congress, the two of them neck and neck at the moment to take up that third spot in the Cape Town Metro behind the DA and the ANC. And so really what we are starting to see there is that she, Patricia de Lille, that is, and the Cape Coloured Congress, they have really captured the hearts of disillusioned coloured voters in the Cape, those who perhaps in the past supported the DA. The DA is just over 60% in the Cape Metro. You will remember they had a whopping 66% 5 years ago. And so it cannot be discounted that those two parties now neck and neck at just over 4% each of the Metro vote in particular, that they have made inroads in particular Cape Flats communities here in Cape Town, Gareth. So while they're probably not in the running to be major opposition parties, they certainly are going to be the newcomers in the Cape Town Metro Council, Gareth.
And it seems as though that Patricia de Lille, they were very focused, weren't they, Lindsay, when we were speaking all those weeks ago about being focused, not trying to spread themselves too thin. There was two major areas that they were focusing on, and from what I'm seeing on numbers, it seems that the focus points was Beaufort West and that of George, and that's where Patricia de Lille and the Good Party seems to have made quite some impressive inroads.
Yes, Gareth, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that while Patricia de Lille does much of her politics and most of her success has been here in Cape Town, we shouldn't forget the fact that Beaufort West is her hometown. And so she has put in the work there. She's also put in the work, as you point out. George is a municipality where we're also still waiting for for a result. We understand that it has been captured, but the system's possibly not updating up as quickly. And then, of course, she has here in the metro gone to those traditional areas where back in 2006 her independent Democrats was very successful, and which helped the DA come to power in Cape Town 15 years ago to form that coalition. She was the kingmaker, and so she really has gone back to those communities, Gareth, here in the city, to drum up support for her new Good Party. Of course, she's also the only person to be having been elected as the mayor of Cape Town for 2 successive terms, even though that was with the DA. And of course, she's not standing for that position now. Brett Heron, who is a seasoned councillor, standing as the candidate for the Good Party, as the mayoral candidate. So she has really worked really hard in areas where she has enjoyed support for a number of years in the city, irrespective of the party that she has been campaigning for, Gareth.
All right, Lindsay Dendling at the very latest from the Western Cape as to what is happening with the elections coming in there. As Lindsay says, around about 11 o'clock, maybe midday, we might see some finalisation of numbers. We're going to go to KZN in a moment. First, the Free State, in case you're wondering, you're waking up this morning. Gareth, what's happening in the Free State? Let me help you. The ANC, 50.89% for the ANC. The Democratic Alliance, they're currently on 18.33 in the Free State. The EFF, 12.02. And let me get my maths right. Freedom Front Plus, 4.26, and SSDF on 1.33. So that's the latest as far as the Free State is concerned. Now, my job is to take you around the countries to make sure that you know what is happening in all of the provinces as we get the numbers in. So we've gone from Cape Town. I took you to the Free State. Now let's go to Inqobile Matlala, who's covering for us what is happening in her part of the country. Inqobile, hello to you as we head up to just after 6:30. How are we looking where you are?
Well, Gareth, I was just zoning in some of the interesting municipalities here. I think for one, Abaqulusi for me has been something that's quite interesting. Even though the counting is still ongoing, Gareth, you will remember that this municipality previously went to ANC in 2016, but also we know that it went under administration. But what we're seeing there now is that we're seeing IFP taking over Abaqulusi. And this is quite interesting, of course. We're seeing a change there, and of course we're looking at Umgeni, which we're seeing a DA leading that part, and of course that comes from ANC as well. So ANC losing its parts in some of the areas, but these are quite interesting, really, Gareth, because we're seeing inroads, we're seeing changes as well, and we can see EFF as well making inroads there in eThekwini. We can see them sitting on 9%, 9.31% at the moment. And of course, these are quite interesting dynamics in KZN, considering that as we went on the street, Gareth, and we spoke to people, it is quite clear that the people were saying that whoever's going to get their vote at this point is anyone who promises to work, and not just promises but implement. It was quite clear that the people want implementation. Now, when we went to the north, the people there were saying things like a service delivery, which, I mean, at this point, the whole of South Africa is crying of a service delivery. But for them, it was something quite severe. I mean, they were talking about the fact that simple things like having a tar road, for them to have accessibility to some of simple things like taxis, of course, because taxis wouldn't go in because of the kind of roads that they're around. People talking as well about water sanitation, talking about lights. So in these areas, people complaining a lot about what they deem as service delivery that has not been delivered to them, and saying that they will give their vote to those that are deserving. So you can see there in eNCA, where we were with the former president, as he was telling us that he has spoken to some of the people that are his followers, that he had made it clear that he was still ANC, that he wants them to continue voting and forget about what was happening between in the party and just continue voting, because that's what he was saying to them, of course. But we're seeing there in eNCA once again, IFP also on the lead there. But he was saying to us that it is possible for ANC at some point to take it. It seems this year might not just be that point, Gareth. So we're just looking at the numbers, just reflecting quite an interesting dynamic indeed this side, Gareth.
All right, that's what's happening as far as KZN is concerned out of the Durban Results Operations Centre in Mobile Matlala. Thank you very much indeed. We'll go back to you again a little bit later. All right, so that's the latest we have as far as results are concerned. Let me just double check before I leave you. No, we have not moved off 58% since we went live this morning at 5 a.m. That board behind me is still showing 58%. We're going to wait for these numbers to come in. We're going to wait for politicians to walk into the area behind me as well. Now, what you normally have on the very far right-hand side of the Results Operations Centre, there you can see it in the corner, that's where you'd ordinarily find all the big political parties coming through. But as you can see, there's not really anybody there. I've seen maybe one or two UDM members, Freedom Front Plus and IFP members. But for the moment, the majority of the political parties aren't here. But I can guarantee you, as the sun begins to rise on day 2 of the results counting here at the IEC, those big political parties, their leaders are going to start coming through as we keep a close eye. There you can see the Freedom Front Plus members sitting at their table. But as we pan a bit to the right, you'll see, and that's about it. Nobody else has really decided to come and play this time of the morning. All right, Tumelo, let's come back to you. Studio 1 in Hyde Park. We're back here again a little bit later.
All right, thank you so much, Gareth. We'll be sure to get in those updates from you. But as you've mentioned there, 58% of the voter count, of course, only accounted for. So we'll be sure to wait on the IEC as they continue to ensure that today indeed is the final day for 100% voter counting. So we'll be sure to come back to the Rock quite soon. But on that